And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Mod X, which is a game that looks like it came out, I got this off the thrift store shelf, that it came out in the 70s, right? There was a lot of abstract games that came out of that period of time, with the red and orange and more orange and black motif here. I know when I was a kid, I was always going to the thrift store, and there was lots of games that looked this similar. And I can only assume that this is a deliberate decision on Cryptozoics, because this is an abstract strategy game, and so they must have wanted to look like this. Why they thought that that's a selling point in the year 2016 is beyond me. Is there a bunch of people who really like orange and red and thought, oh, this is the game for me? But whatever. We'll put that aside and look at it, because I'm interested in abstract games, especially ones where you need to get 5 things in a row. The board here is made up of different squares. You can see that it is an 8x8 grid of 64 squares. You're going to put out some of these. These are wild neutral pieces. There's 5 of them that you're going to place on the board. The game gives you extra pieces. Let's go crazy. Here's how I go crazy. Put those pieces away. So you have these 5 pieces that are randomly placed out. And then on a player's turn, they're simply going to take one of their pieces and they can place it anywhere they want. So we'll show here a little bit of a 2-player thing. So maybe this player goes here, and then the orange player goes there, and then the black player goes there, then the orange player goes here, the black player goes here, the orange player is trying to stop him, so he goes here, and so we're going back and forth. Now what players are trying to do as they play this game is they are trying to make patterns, and so the orange player's there, the black player places there, orange player places here, black player places here. Now, it's the orange player's turn, and they are going to make one of the patterns, which is simply 5 in a row. Now, you can make 5 in a row diagonally or any way you want. So they're going to take these pieces off the board, and they're going to replace those with scoring pieces. So you can see, this shows that right now, the orange player has 5 points. Now either player, orange and black, can both place on top of those. It's now black's turn. Now black is going to place a piece here. Now this is going to make a X. This is an X here. You can see 1, 2, 3. There's 5. It's always 5 that's needed to make a pattern. There's 2 different X's. You can have one that looks like this. This would have also been a legal move for black to make, where the X looks like that. But they decided to use this one. They're going to be using this wild piece. Now they're going to take this scoring piece, and now this is placed on top of it. So orange has essentially lost a point by them placing a scoring piece on top of that one. Black will not place a scoring piece where the wild is, and in fact they have to move the wild to another spot. They just can't move it to a spot that will score for anybody. So maybe they put it right here. If when they place it down they can score with all 5 wilds, they win. I do not think that is possible to do unless the other player has set you up for whatever reason. And this is going to continue back and forth. Players are going to be placing more and more of these on the board and covering them up. And when one player gets to a certain point total, and that point total is going to depend on how many players are in the game, because it can be 4 players, or you can play in teams of 2 where there's 2 colors against 2 other colors. So for example, the 2-player game, first to 15 points win. 3 players, 12 points. 4 players, 10 points, unless you're playing teams, in which case one team needs to get 12 points. That player is the winner. Now in this game, the colors, I said, to me are almost a distraction. In fact, I found that the red and the orange colors in certain lighting are really difficult to tell from each other. And why? Why? The pieces are fine. They're the plastic pieces, although again, this literally looks like a production. If I brought this out and didn't show you the box, because there is a little bit of modernization on the box, not much, but if I brought out this game and showed it to somebody and said, what year did this come out with? I don't think anyone would guess 2015, other than maybe someone who was thinking I was trying to trick them. It has that look to it, and I don't think it's a good look. It's an okay look. But the pieces themselves are solid and they fit in fine, although I will say that if you have like 3 scoring tokens on one, that does raise the X a little bit above. It doesn't sit in as neatly as it did before, but that's not that big of a deal. It's easy to put the pieces in, easy to pull them out, easy to do stuff in this game, and I think that's a strength of the game. A strength of the game is, hey, I can make 5 in a row, and you probably can't stop me. Because I'm going to get 5 in a row, I'm going to make an X, I'm going to make a thing. In fact, I might do it because I'm letting you do your own thing, and I'll cover you up later. Because that's the thing. Blocking someone is not that big of a deal. You saw in that sample game I had the people blocking each other, but let them get their 5 in a row, but then cover them up. Cover them up with your own. And that's where the game gets interesting, because if you cover up half of the 5 squares someone just got, you're kind of wasting those actions that they took while gaining points yourself. It's much better if you get 5 in a row or an X or a cross. And I like the fact that you can get those 3 different things, because you have 5 up, 5 over, 5 diagonal, an X or a square. I mean, there's lots of different things you can put all over the board. But because of that, when you cover someone else up, you are threatening them with a swing of 2 points. Not only am I taking a point from you, I'm getting a point for myself. And that is why I think the game is actually best in teams or with 2, because of that swing there. Now, the game is fine with 3 or 4 free-for-all, where everyone's going for each other. Although with 4, it can devolve into the, I think he's going to win. Someone should block him. It's my turn, but there's still 2 people before he goes. So you block him, Sally. And Sally's like, I don't want to block him. I'm not doing that either. Susan can block him. Susan's like, whoa, now I have to block him or they win the game. I've always thought that was kind of I'm not a big fan of that in games. So I feel like the team play, especially since there's, talking, okay, hey, look over there, do that, between the players. This is a cool abstract. I'm always a huge fan of these abstract strategy games that require very little to understand. This is a very simple game to teach. I can teach it in 30 seconds, really, but then have a greater depth and strategy beyond that. Sure, the 5 in a row thing, there's a lot of games out there. That's not a new concept. But this one, where it leaves a scoring trail on the board and then other people can take that and cover it up, that's a cool new feature. So I don't think this game's going to do well, honestly. I don't think this box is going to do the game any favors. Abstract strategy games have a hard time selling as it is, and this is not going to, it's not going to do well. So if you want it, you probably should get it soon. Or maybe you'll be able to find it at a thrift store itself someday. But either way, the game inside is decidedly good. I was very impressed with it and urge you to check it out. That's Mod X. Dice Tower Judgment approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.